Hey everybody, Bitstream Gains here one more time. Back to do a quick video about some market analysis for Bitcoin. Again, I'm trying to break up the videos so they're not quite as long if they don't need to be, and very subject matter driven so people can just zoom in on the subjects that they care about and avoid the stuff that they don't. So this is the daily chart of Bitcoin. Today is, what is today? It is February 24th. Um, so the last time I made a video, I think we were here on the 17th and we were like midway through this candle right here. Um, and you can see the lines. These are the same lines that I had drawn back then. I haven't added any, or I actually took some away that didn't matter anymore, like this uptrend right here. But we can see the major lines that I drew are still here. And at the time, I said that we had some major resistance ahead that we would have to get through in order to continue this trend. And this trend was very, very vertical, and therefore very hard to sustain for a long period of time, and a lot of headwind ahead for us to continue an upward trend. But we were coming up on a very major resistance line that we had to break through if we were going to continue upwards. And we did test it, and technically we broke through it, but we didn't sustain it. So you can see right here, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see that we did test it, and then we retreated immediately from that resistance line, and we continued to retreat. And we did break through a support area. This is weak support, but support nonetheless. We broke through a small support area right here. We tried to bounce off of it, but today we retreated right through the support line. And at this point, it's anybody's game. We're kind of in no man's land right now. So we can meander anywhere in this zone. Based on the technicals, we can meander anywhere in this zone for a while, probably until late March. you know so I don't know if it's going to be a straight drop. I don't know if it's just going to be a meandering drop where we keep knocking on the door of this resistance area. I don't know. We do have another support area right here with this line. I believe, is this the, yeah, this is the last, the last down area right here back in January. So we had a bounce right here. So that could be an area of support. We did hang around that here a little bit as well, even though we ended up falling through the trap door. But that's another kind of weakish area of support. It also represents a fib line. So that is the 23% retracement line from this major run. So that could be a support area. But I think the major story of Bitcoin lies in this red line and this green line right now. And we're still in a bear market for now, and we could be for a while. We had a chance to escape it right here, but we did not. So we're kind of in no man's land in this area right now. So if I had to call it, I would say that we'd probably get a bounce off of this line in this area somewhere around the 9,000, upper 8,000 area, and then headbutt back into this line again before retreating down probably to this green line or somewhere eventually. So that would be my call if I had to call it. So I think that we are more or less red from here for a little while until we catch up to this green line, this long-term upward trend, and then proceed upward from there. But I think it's going to be a while. I think that in the meantime, Bitcoin is going to be beaten up in the news and on YouTube and all of that kind of stuff along the way. You know, people are going to have their baseball bats out, beating it up from the outside, you know, talking trash and all that kind of stuff, helping it to helping people kind of get scared out of it a little bit or whatever, until some more of the weak hands are kind of shaken out, and then we can catch some of this upward trend here. Now, this is irrespective of major news. So, of course, news trumps all of these lines. News doesn't care about any of these lines. So if something major happens, either positive or negative, it could definitely break any of these lines. But outside of that, I think that we have some, these are what we're looking at right now. And, you know, this line came true for us. You know, this trend came true for us. I drew this original smaller trend way back when it was, you know, right here, I think on this candle right here. So that trend held for a little bit. So, you know, the technicals, they work, you know, and that's what they're telling us right now is we are consolidating lower until we have to make a decision by the end of March as to what direction we're going to do. And like I said, I think that we're building momentum. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I think we're building momentum to the upside eventually. But we've got a little bit longer to go before we can do that. So now, if we can hold this line, then I think that this trend is a much, much more sustainable trend than what we see over here. So if we can hold this green line, then you can kind of extrapolate where we'll be in the future at a certain time, at least, you know. So if you're looking for like a, you know, a $20,000 Bitcoin, all you got to do is point this line out to the future and you can kind of see, okay, worst case scenario, that's where we can expect, you know, a $20,000 Bitcoin, unless it decides to break that line for whatever reason at some point. But, you know, it's a pretty strong trend line. So we'll see. And it does say, you know, overall, the price of Bitcoin is positive. It doesn't feel like it, but like I said in all of my previous videos, we didn't deserve that. This is totally undeserved, totally unsustainable price levels. It hasn't earned that. So, you know, we had to pay the piper to come back down and get back to reality. Even, you know, the $10,000-$11,000 level is kind of high if you consider, you know, the average trend of Bitcoin. So I think holding between these two lines right here is a better trajectory, a more sustainable trajectory than this right here. This is just crazy. Anybody that looks at this knows that that's crazy. The first moment I saw that, I knew it was crazy even back here. It's just a matter of when are the chips going to fall. So I feel better if it's bouncing between these two lines right here. So that's what the charts are telling us. We can zoom in and see some more recent price action. If we go to the hour chart, we can see that a lot of negative energy is kind of coming out of Bitcoin right now. I think we are due for a bounce here pretty soon. I don't know when, but this is a lot of negative energy right here in the past couple of hours. So the sellers are probably going to be getting exhausted here pretty soon. So we'll see. And then, you know, if we zoom into like a 15-minute chart, still looks the same. I mean, the sellers are, you know, they had a lot of selling going on right here. I don't have volume up, but this is a lot of selling. So I think that pretty soon the sellers will start getting exhausted, probably either overnight or late into Sunday. They'll start getting exhausted and buyers will start taking over again and maybe take us back up to this line or something. You can see we did bounce off of that line right here. So that line may be relevant. But yeah, I think we'll maybe catch a ride back up to the $9,000-$10,000 range before too long. But yeah, but like I said, we're still in a bear market. You can see our test of the big red line right here that failed. Um, and yeah, so that's where we're at. All right, so we'll take a look again after a couple days, see where we're at, and reassess. But like I said, I would be prepared. I would be a seller of strength right now, more so than a buyer of weakness. I know that's kind of counterintuitive to what we're doing with the bot, but basically what that means is I would lengthen out my buy value. I would lower it, to a lower level, or I would just anticipate holding on to bags longer, or whatever you do in a bear market to try to make money. I would be in bear mode. So whatever that looks like for you, I would definitely do that. So at least for the short term, maybe for the next month. So that's my thoughts. I could be wrong. I left my crystal ball at my other place, but that's what the charts are telling me. So that's kind of what I'm going to be prepared for. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bitstream out.